changing Josh Allen. Josh Allen on Monday Night Football. I mean, his decision-making has been pristine this year. The real reason why I've always been out on Josh Allen is because, well, he's been a turnover machine. The only guy with more turnovers than him since 2021 is another quarterback that played last night on Monday Night Football in Trevor Lawrence, except he doesn't come with any of the touchdowns. He doesn't come with any of the upside. Josh Allen clearly does. I don't want to be one of those people that live in hyperbole, and I also am leveled enough to not take this to a level that we don't need to be getting to. But, of course, the Bills slaughtered the Jaguars at home last night, 47-10. I stopped watching that thing right about nearing halftime once I realized this thing was wrapped up. Josh Allen was having his way with that Jaguars defense, and Trevor Lawrence couldn't figure a thing out, whether he was scrambling around for his life, running into sacks, or just throwing the ball directly into the hands of Damar Hamlin. Like, there was nothing Trevor Lawrence did good last night, and there was zero things that Josh Allen did bad. That was absolutely shocking to see Josh Allen come out so strong. And CCAT, like my boy Jalen said here in the chat, you had to be elated, excited for Josh. Were you more happy and proud last night watching Josh Allen than you were watching your guy Lamar Jackson and the Ravens against the Cowboys?
No.
It didn't go that far.
Wouldn't go that far. I know the fantasy football, investment, so happy about Josh Allen, but it was great watching Josh Allen prove to what I believe him to be the hands-down second-best quarterback in the NFL, and it was in prime time. It was fun to watch.
They are a team that made a statement last night. The Buffalo Bills did. In fact, we had 4 teams make statements last night. Just some of them were whimpers. Some of them were statements that were a little negative when you think about the Jaguars and also the Bengals, who fell to the Commanders at home, who I told you, I literally said this yesterday. I said, the Bengals are the team that should be the most desperate. They're the team that can't afford to lose. I knew the Jaguars had no shot against the Bills. That was one of the easiest blowouts to predict. But the Commanders doing what they did against the Bengals last night, winning 38-33, and having Jaden Daniels have his breakout as a rookie, that has to just be dismantling to the confidence of any fan over there in Who Dey Nation. It's a weak saying, by the way.
It's an identity crisis. Yeah.
Who Dey?
Who Dey is tough.
That is the weakest slogan for any professional franchise. I'm not just talking about the NFL. That Who Dey? Who dat is cold. Like the Saints got something going down there. Right. Shout out New Orleans. Shout out the fam. Who Dey is just.
And they still
lousy.
debate about who started it, who stole who day, who dat from each other.
One is good and the other one sucks. So it doesn't matter who started it or who did it first. Like, the Bengals can say they did it first, but if you did it first and it stunk, then you should have probably stopped doing it.
But you also look at how a team is performing and look at everything surrounding that team through a different lens. Maybe Who Dey rocks if the Bengals are 3-0, looking strong, and people aren't talking badly about Joe Burrow.
It doesn't even make sense, though, as a problem. You got Who Dey, you got Joe Burrow, who he's making more headlines and he's getting more highlights for his slow-motion walkouts or his little weak B-boy haircut that he's got, the 0-3 Bengals whimpering around. I don't want to start on that, though. I want to start on a good note. I want to talk about the Monday Night Football statement that went in a positive direction, because we're going to be doing that today. Give me your biggest Monday Night Football statement. Who made the biggest statement between the Bills, the Jaguars, the Bengals, and the Commanders? And for me, it's got to be Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And you came out of the gates and said it already, CCAT. I want to cool the Jets on this. Everybody out here now is saying Josh Allen is clearly the second best quarterback in the NFL. Everybody is saying that he has paraded himself to the top. Maybe even some have gone past that line that we're not allowed to do on this radio station and said that he's better than Mahomes right now. I can't allow that. But I don't want to go that far yet. I think the real statement that the Bills made last night, it wasn't about whether or not Josh Allen is the second best quarterback in the league, clear cut. The statement he made was both of these Florida franchises outside of the Buccaneers, the Jaguars and the Dolphins, are absolutely stinky. They are bad football teams. Both came into this year thinking they can be in the playoffs, thinking they can maybe get away with winning a postseason game. Both this offseason invested $50+ million a year in their quarterbacks. Both had expectations of growth this year, had positivity coming into the season, and neither one of them put up any kind of a fight against the Buffalo Bills. In back-to-back weeks, Josh Allen and the Bills served as a big giant, like one of those wall mirrors, the mall mirrors that you have to lean up against the wall when you're moving out of your house. You can't even carry it out yourself. You got to get the movers to do it because it's so damn thick and heavy. Josh Allen and the Bills were a big mirror, and the Buffalo Bills forced the Jaguars and the Dolphins in the past 2 weeks to look themselves in the mirror and say, we are not who we thought we were. And y'all obviously are. I don't see how a team in the Bills who lost so much talent over this offseason, who didn't have the kind of upgrades or the reinvestments in their offense that you saw from the Jaguars and the Dolphins, can be that demonstratively better than both of those teams. And I also know that both of those front offices now have a lot more questions regarding who they extended this offseason into Tagovailoa and in Trevor Lawrence. Neither one of those contracts have kicked in yet, and both of those guys look like they are 4 or 5 classes behind Josh Allen. You're going to have to pay those dudes $50+ million a year. That means you're not going to be able to pay other spots on your roster. That means for the next 5, 6, 7 years, if you're the Dolphins or the Jaguars, you have absolutely no shot at contending in your conference, because I'm only talking about the Bills right now. I haven't even gotten to the other teams in the AFC that are more primed to be good, to be competent. The Dolphins and the Jaguars have to look themselves in the mirror today and just say, we are absolutely abysmal, C-Cat. And I think that's the statement the Bills made. Not that Josh Allen is the number 2 quarterback in the league yet. I'm pumping the brakes. I'm cooling the jets. I refuse to be a prisoner of the moment. Give Lamar Jackson a chance to respond. What's our game next week? Bills versus Ravens. Let me see the Bills against some competition. That's the biggest statement we had from last night. The Bills showing the Florida teams that they absolutely stink. That's the statement, not that Josh Allen's the number 2 quarterback in the league right now. 888-760-3776. 888-760-3776. Who made the biggest statement on Monday Night Football last night between the 4 teams, and what was that statement? To me, it was Josh Allen and the Bills, and it was that the Florida teams have a lot of thinking to do this coming offseason. Hit us up on the Baptist Health Hotline, as you always do here on Theoretically Speaking, 888-760-3776. 888-760-3776. That's the number to tap in on a Tuesday. Tap in on a Tuesday. I like the sound of that. 888-760-3776. Are you experiencing foot and ankle pain and need to see an expert in the field? Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has a team of foot and ankle orthopedic surgeons and specialists who are regarded as leaders in their specialty. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho to learn more today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care combines its resources of experienced physicians and leading-edge treatments and technology to provide advanced orthopedic, foot and ankle, joint replacement, spine, and sports medicine care. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho for more information today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has offices conveniently located in Palm Beach County through the Florida Keys. Learn more by visiting baptisthealth.net/ortho. ESPN released their FPI latest football power index rankings. The Bills are atop the rankings, and the Dolphins, you want to know where they place, C-Cat?
Where's that?
DFL, dead effing last, number 32 in the league right now at minus 7.3, as the Bills are a positive 7.1. There's a huge chasm between the contenders and teams like the Dolphins and the Jags right now in the league, and you wouldn't have thought that going into this offseason. Both of those teams expected to be in the postseason, and they have no chance now, not just this year, but likely going forward, because the situations don't look like they're getting much better.
Theo, I'm feeling hyper-reactive right now. Because what you just said confirms what I believe in my brain right now. This is not a statement about the playoffs. This is not a statement about the Super Bowl. This is not even a statement about the MVP this year. This is a statement about right now. If instead the Bills played the Chiefs and not the Ravens next weekend, the Bills would win the football game. Right now, the Bills are the best team in football. We all know what the Chiefs do throughout the season. They always get better. So I'm not willing to say that yet. But right now, the Bills are playing the best football in the NFL.
I have to agree with you. Even as a Chiefs fan, and as a guy who hates to admit how much ground Josh Allen is making up, because to be honest with you, C-Cat, if I were to have an honest moment with all of you guys right now.
Be vulnerable?
I'm be vulnerable. I was coming into this show, coming into this day, prepared to have that conversation about Josh Allen. Has he reached the air of Patrick Mahomes? Has he snuck in, not level with him, not eye to eye, but has he snuck into that little cloud? Like, is he in the room? Is he opening the door in the room where Patrick Mahomes is sitting on his throne? I was ready. But the thing that made me pump the brakes on it is I have to consider the competition. That's one thing we always do here on Theoretically Speaking. We don't get out ahead of things in the wrong direction. You have to always consider the competition. It adds context to your conversation. And who have the Bills played this year? Who have they beaten? We've seen these amazing performances from Josh Allen, but we've also seen him in positions where he's literally been having his way left and right against defenses that have zero answers, against teams that have figured out nothing over the offseason, and obviously did not have a good plan of attack for stopping this Bills offense. Like, yes, he beat the Jaguars last night. The way they were playing, anybody could have showed up there and beat down on that defense. Yeah, they destroyed the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins have looked terrible against everybody this year except for, the Jaguars. Like, I don't understand how we can take those 3 games from Josh Allen, who also has been the most volatile quarterback in the league over the past 3 or 4 years. There's a reason why he's led the league in turnovers, outside of that guy named Trevor Lawrence, who's now competing with him for that. Why he continues to lead the league in turnovers year after year. It's because Josh Allen has ups and downs. And against bad competition, he can look heroic at times. Against good competition, when he's pushed, when he's forced to try and make plays that he probably shouldn't, that's when you get the other side of the card with Josh Allen, and we haven't seen that yet this year. We're going to see it this coming weekend against the Ravens. If he performs like that, not even like that, if the Bills are able to beat the Baltimore Ravens, I believe that's on the road, right, in Baltimore?
Yeah.
I think that then we can start having that conversation as to whether or not, clearly we can put him ahead of Lamar Jackson, right? But also whether or not Josh Allen has crept up and is playing the best football in the league and also should be considered the best football player in the National Football League. But it's too early because the competition has been too poor.
Oh, man, right now, looking at that slate, Sunday Night Football is Ravens hosting the Bills. Ravens are 2.5-point favorites. If this game ends 33-31, Ravens win, I'm still willing to say Josh Allen is above. I didn't watch the football game, but if you're able to put about that amount of points, if it is clearly an offensive affair, I'm excited for it. Right now, I'm more worried about my spot on the couch and my meal during that game rather than the takeaways during that football game. I want to enjoy it first.
So do you think, is there a way that Lamar, right now you squarely have Josh Allen as the number 2 quarterback in the league? You believe he's better than Lamar Jackson?
Yes.
So is there anything Lamar can do in that game on Sunday to prove to you otherwise? Is there a scenario in which you say, oh my gosh, that guy actually is the guy that's the quarterback for my team that has 2 MVPs, that was in the AFC Championship game last year and only lost because he was going up against that Kansas City Chiefs team that was indestructible down the edge of that season? Is there anything he can do on Sunday to prove it to you?
If Lamar can come from behind using his arm against the Bills, we'll start the conversation.
Okay.
It'll be just one data point, but again, that is one of the continuing conversations about Lamar Jackson is the Ravens have a certain way to win football games ever since the Lamar Jackson era began, and we saw that exact formula last weekend against the Cowboys.
Yep.
Run the ball down the throat, get an early lead, choke the clock out. Well, it kind of had a faulty fourth quarter there, but that's kind of how they won the football game. If we can see Lamar Jackson do something that he's done a couple of times in his career, once came in the regular season against the Chiefs, come from behind, use his arm. Part of the reason why Lamar Jackson is as dynamic and is as highly ranked as he is because he's not just an arm, but he's obviously 50% of the equation is his legs. Yeah. But this is the NFL. It's a passing league. I want to see that he's able to do that. If Lamar Jackson can come from behind, win that football game with his arm, I'll have the conversation about debating who's number 2.
And that's the thing. So for me, I won't. That's why I refuse right now to just hand it over to Josh Allen because he also hasn't been tested for real. The Cardinals game was somewhat of a test, but the fact that that defense is what held them up, I do give a pass because it was week 1. It's coming out of a preseason where you're not really playing. You have a bunch of new weapons. It's still a relatively new offensive system, so I give the Bills a pass there, but they were able to come from behind and win in week 1. I just still want to see what the Bills look like, and they're going to get tested. Let's look at their schedule ahead. It's not just the Ravens here, but they have a few games here where you're going to say, okay, if they get through this stretch, the shifting of the MVP odds, like what we've seen, because, right, Josh Allen's the leader in the clubhouse right now for the MVP, right?
Pretty sure.
The shifting in the odds and also the football power index having them number 1 over the Chiefs, over the Niners, over the other extremely – I said Niners as if they were even good this year. We're going to find out. So they have Sunday Night Football at the Ravens. That's going to be this coming weekend. The following weekend, they remain on the road, and they travel to Houston, Texas to face the Houston Texans, who have a defense that, I mean, again, Sam Darnold had his way. Sam Darnold darted him up, but you don't have the same level of weapons on the outside that Darnold had against the Texans. I would love to see what he does against that defense and in a third straight road game. So really, the Bills might have had a super-duper easy runway, but these next 3 games, we're going to really learn a lot more about them because the next game after that, Monday Night Football at the Jets. That is a hell of a way to back up the claims that people are saying right now today. If he is that number 2 guy in the NFL, if he is the quarterback that y'all are going to say is contending with Mahomes now, I need to see something out of these next 3 games. I don't give a damn what he did in the first 3.
Well, I think that's kind of the preferred schedule for any NFL team in the year 2024. It's an easy start, and then you ramp into your harder games.
Yeah.
Because you see how low passing is in the NFL. If you're a passing team, it's going to take some time to get into rhythm. And now the Bills look like they are fully in rhythm, ready to take on the meat of that schedule. You ask about the MVP odds. Right now, Josh Allen, the leader in the clubhouse, by a hair. He's at plus 230. Mahomes close behind at plus 250. And no one's really in the same conversation of those two as far as the MVP award goes. Plus 1,400 is C.J. Stroud.
Wow.
Plus 1,600, Jalen Hurts. Still haven't said Lamar Jackson's name.
Yeah.
Plus 1,750 is Rodgers, plus 1,750 Rhett Jackson.
Yeah, they're losing right now. And when the Ravens start rearing back into form, he'll climb the leaderboard there in the clubhouse, and he can really do it this Sunday against the Bills. Like, I don't think, again, you can glean too much from this win. I love that people are having their parades for Josh Allen. I love that there is the fanfare around him that is starting to kind of cloud back up, and people are pumping their chest. It was disrespectful that he was called the most overrated quarterback in the NFL this preseason by his NFL. It wasn't like this was media talking. It wasn't like it was Twitter trolls. Literally, ESPN had that poll with NFL players, and they said Josh Allen's the most overrated player in the league. And he's not performing like it. In fact, the most overrated player in the league was the guy that was quarterbacking the Bengals in the game that was the finale of Monday Night Football in Joe Burrow. And I'm not just saying that in hindsight because the Bengals have started off 0-3. Can we take another trip down memory lane, C-Cat? Let's take a trip down memory lane and listen to what I told y'all about Josh Allen and Joe Burrow back this offseason. I have to be the one to bear some bad news for the Bengals fans out there. Joe Burrow is clearly the most overrated quarterback in the NFL, especially coming into this season. I was right. Joe Burrow is not the guy that y'all painted him out to be. Dan Orlovsky loves to hop on TV any chance he gets and just glaze up Joe Burrow. Oh, my gosh. Oh, this is the one dude the Chiefs don't want to see. That's the one team, the one quarterback the Chiefs don't want to line up against. I don't understand how Joe Burrow can get all of the credit for the Bengals making the Super Bowl, and now just because his defense didn't get some stops against a rookie quarterback, y'all don't want to give him any of the blame. If he gets the credit for the Bengals making that Super Bowl run, when really you're talking about him having 3 elite weapons, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, an elite defense at the time with Jesse Bates back there hovering around as a free safety, his defensive coordinator, Big Lou, calling up some of the best schemes ever against Patrick Mahomes, one of the greatest defensive coordinators at scheming against and slowing down Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Joe Burrow did not carry this Bengals team to the Super Bowl that year when they inevitably fell to the Rams. And you paid him like a guy that could carry a team. But you know what y'all forgot when y'all paid him plus $55 million a year? You know what you forgot about Joe Burrow? We haven't seen him be good unless he's had 2 elite weapons on the outside. And the problem with having 2 elite wide receivers these days is you got to pay them dudes. The Bengals are another team. I don't expect them to get back to the Super Bowl again under Joe Burrow. I will say that today, and this is not an overreaction. I've been saying it this offseason. I'll say it again today as they started off 0-3. The statement the Bengals made last night in losing to the Commanders, a rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels, who looked like the better quarterback on the field. Not that Joe Burrow looked bad, but Jaden Daniels looked like the guy I would rather have quarterbacking my team. The Bengals are telling us they won't be back on that stage. So continue to give Joe Burrow the credit, continue to applaud the fact that he has a winning record against Patrick Mahomes, and continue to pat his back and say, well, buddy, it's all good. You made it to the Super Bowl. Because they won't ever be back there again with Joe Burrow at quarterback, and it's because there's 2 types of quarterbacks in this league, C-Cat. There's guys like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson who you don't have to pay a receiver $35+ million a year to make him look good on the field, to be a security blanket. And then there's guys like Joe Burrow who are closer to Tua Tagovailoa and Jared Goff than he is to that elite realm of quarterbacks. And that's the ugly truth that the Bengals learned last night, not just the fan base, but that front office. And that's the reason why they're a little bit hesitant. They're going to let T. Higgins walk. They're going to have to pay Jamar Chase. But once they do that, the reason why this is Joe Burrow's fault, that defense couldn't stop nobody because the front office couldn't pay nobody because you're paying Joe Burrow so much money now. That's the issue.
You could even put Dak Prescott in the conversation, like paying CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Like paying, or they paid Dak, so he's going to be there for a while, and they need weapons like that around him to have hope to be good. And with Joe Burrow, I think there's two paths he could have gone here. And I'm not saying that he chose to take one path or the other. It's just that what type of quarterback he is when you look back at his career in 20 years. Is he going to be looked at as an Eli Manning where, oh my God, remember when Joe Burrow did that, somehow slayed that dragon of Patrick Mahomes not once but twice?
Yeah.
Or he's going to be looked at as maybe a Peyton Manning in the career, where he did slay that dragon and continues to do that a couple of times in his career, even though he's not looked at as the Tom Brady of his era. And right now, reading the tea leaves for the next 15 years, he's getting closer to the side of the Eli Manning type legacy, where, he might be looked at as fondly from his own fan base, but he's not respected among the greats.
And the problem is, yes, Joe Burrow is closer to Eli Manning than he is Peyton Manning, at least when it comes to like legacy and projecting things right now. The problem is the Giants never had to pay Eli like they did Peyton. The Bengals are paying Joe Burrow top of the market money. And I'm not saying the dude isn't worth that, but his success is obviously contingent on having elite wide receiver play. And when you have to pay the quarterback and the wide receiver, you start to run out of money. This is a zero-sum game. It's a salary cap sport. This ain't like LSU when you could just have the bad guy drop off some bread in a double cup, styrofoam cup through the fast food line. You just stuff the money in the bottom cup, put some Coke in the first one, Coca-Cola, by the way, and then hand it to the recruit, and you could just pile on all this talent, CEH and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and all of that. No. There's a limit to how much talent you can stockpile in the NFL, especially when you're paying a guy at quarterback $50+ million. There's a reason why Josh Allen ain't got no number one receiver right now. There's a reason why Patrick Mahomes doesn't either. It's because their team is going to build around them with other elite weapons. I feel like I'm starting to sound like Evan Cohen.